The night he found her. It was a cold and quiet night. Ethan walked slowly through the forest. He lived alone near the woods, far from the busy city. His small wooden house was surrounded by trees, and he liked the silence. But that night, the silence felt strange. Even the animals were quiet. Suddenly, a loud sound came from the sky. A bright light cut across the stars and crashed into the forest. Boom! The ground shook. Birds flew into the air, and dogs began barking in the distance. Ethan froze for a moment, staring at the smoke rising behind the trees. What was that? He whispered to himself. He grabbed his flashlight and jacket and ran toward the sound. As he got closer, he saw a big black mark on the ground. Something had fallen hard. The grass was burned. Trees were broken. In the middle of the crash site, he saw something glowing. A small pod, round, silver, and hot. Then he heard it. A crying sound. Soft, afraid. He stepped closer. The pod opened with a quiet hiss. Inside, a child was sitting no older than 6. She had soft purple skin, large eyes that glowed faintly, and thin silver hair. She was shaking. Ethan gasped. What in the world? The child looked at him, her eyes full of fear. She covered her face and made a strange sound, like a whispering wind. She didn't speak English, but her body was clearly saying one thing: I'm scared. Ethan slowly got down on one knee. It's okay, he said softly. I'm not going to hurt you. The child looked at him again. Her eyes glowed a bit brighter. He stretched out his hand, palm open. She stared for a few seconds, then carefully reached out and touched it. Her hand was small and cold, but she held on tightly. Something inside Ethan changed in that moment. He didn't know what she was or where she came from, but he knew one thing: she needed help. Ethan wrapped her in his jacket and carried her back to his house. She didn't speak. She didn't cry anymore. She just stared at the stars. Inside the house, he gave her water. She didn't know how to drink from a glass, so he showed her gently. She copied him. He tried asking questions. What's your name? No answer. Where are you from? No answer. Are you alone? She looked down and pulled her knees to her chest. Ethan sighed. Okay, you don't have to talk. That night, he made a small bed on the couch for her. She sat there quietly, holding the blanket like a shield. Her glowing eyes blinked slowly. Ethan sat nearby in his old chair. He couldn't stop looking at her. He had seen many strange things in life, but nothing like this. Maybe I'm dreaming, he said to himself. But it wasn't a dream. Suddenly, the child turned her head and looked at him. Her lips moved, slowly, as if trying to remember something. And then, in a soft voice, she spoke one word. Daddy. Ethan froze. What did you say? She looked at him again. Daddy, she said more clearly, pointing at him. Ethan's heart skipped a beat. No, I'm not your. But her eyes were full of trust, full of hope. He looked away, confused and overwhelmed. Outside, the night grew darker. A cold wind blew past the trees. And far above, in the sky, something moved. Something large, silent, and not from Earth. Mornings were never the same after that night. Before she came, Ethan's life was quiet. Wake up, drink coffee, feed the chickens, fix something, go to sleep, alone. Now, there was Zara. That's what he called her. She didn't say a name, so he gave her one. Zara. A name like the stars. Soft, strange. And somehow it fit her perfectly. In the first few days, Zara hardly spoke. She watched everything like a mirror. If Ethan drank tea, she copied. If he washed his hands, she did the same. She had never used a spoon, never heard music, and had never seen a cat. When the neighbor's cat came by, she stared at it for 10 minutes like it was a tiny alien. Ethan laughed. You're the alien, not the cat. But deep inside, he worried. Where had she come from? Was someone looking for her? And if they were they dangerous? He kept her hidden. No phones. No visitors. He even closed the curtains during the day. Zara stayed indoors, learning words from books, cartoons, and Ethan's slow, careful speaking. She learned fast. Too fast. Sky, she said one day, pointing outside. Yes. Sky. Blue. Cloud. Bird. Ethan smiled. You're getting good at this. She smiled too. A real one. Not the confused kind she gave in the beginning. Then she touched her chest and asked, "What am I?" Ethan's smile faded. "You're special." She looked down. "Not same." He nodded. "No, but that's okay. You're safe here." Days turned into weeks. Zara loved learning. She loved the taste of apples, the sound of rain, and the warm feeling of hugging a pillow. Sometimes she stood near the window watching the sky for hours. Ethan would ask, "What are you thinking?" She would whisper, "Home." One night, while Ethan was fixing a chair, Zara came running into the room. Her eyes were wide. "Light! Outside!" she said, pulling his hand. He followed her to the window. A small black drone hovered near the trees. No sound, no lights, just watching. Ethan's chest tightened. "Stay back," he said, pulling Zara behind him. The drone flew away fast, disappearing into the clouds. "Was that from your home?" he asked. Zara didn't answer. Instead, she walked to the table, picked up a pencil, and began to draw. She drew a tall woman with glowing eyes, silver hair like hers, and a long robe with stars on it. Zara looked at Ethan and whispered one word. "Mother." That night, Zara didn't sleep. She sat on the couch, holding her drawing, eyes on the sky. Ethan watched her from the kitchen. His hands were shaking slightly as he made tea. Her real mother is out there, he thought. What if she comes back? What if she takes Zara away? He didn't say anything, but deep in his heart, a strange feeling was growing. Fear, and something more. Love. In the early morning, just before sunrise, Zara finally spoke again. "Daddy?" she said softly. Ethan turned. "Yes. If she comes, do I go?" Ethan knelt beside her. "I don't know," he said honestly, "but I'll protect you, no matter what." Zara looked into his eyes. Then she did something she had never done before. She hugged him first. Outside, the sky slowly turned pink. But in the dark space far above Earth, something was already coming closer. The sky was too quiet that night. Not the peaceful kind of quiet. The kind of quiet just before a storm. Zara stood on the porch, barefoot, her eyes fixed on the stars. She had been different all day, quiet, distant, like her mind was somewhere else. Ethan watched her from the doorway. She hadn't spoken a word in hours. He walked over with a blanket. "You'll catch a cold out here." Zara didn't move. "They're coming," she whispered. Ethan's heart skipped. "Who's coming?" Zara pointed to the sky. "Them." Started slowly. The wind stopped. The trees stood still. And then, a deep humming sound filled the air. Low, metallic, like a machine breathing. Ethan looked up. A strange shape floated high above the clouds. Huge and silent, like a whale swimming in the sky. No wings, no lights, just watching. Zara's eyes began to glow faintly. "Zara?" Ethan asked, stepping back. "What's happening?" But she wasn't looking at him anymore. Her mouth moved. Her voice was not her own. "I hear them," she said, her tone cold. "They are speaking to me." Ethan reached out. "Zara, stop. Whatever this is, don't listen." Suddenly, her eyes turned white. The ground under her feet began to crack. Ethan rushed forward and held her tight. "Breathe. Listen to me. You're okay." Zara gasped, and her eyes turned back to normal. She collapsed in his arms. Later, she lay on the couch, weak and quiet. Ethan sat beside her, holding her small hand. "What was that?" "They found me," she said softly. "But not Mother." "Who then?" She turned her head slowly. "Hunters." The next morning, Ethan checked the news. No one mentioned the object in the sky. No video. No reports. Nothing. It was like it didn't exist. But the forest told a different story. Birds had left. Animals had gone silent. And near the crash site, Ethan found something new. Footprints. Not human. 3 toes. Deep marks. Large strides. They circled the area, and stopped just outside his house. His blood ran cold. They had been watching them. That night, Zara woke up screaming. "I don't want to go," she cried. Ethan rushed in, turned on the light. "It's just a dream. You're safe." She shook her head. "Not dream. They're coming through the sky. They want me back. Not for love. For power." Ethan looked into her eyes. "You're not going anywhere." Zara looked down. "But she is coming too." "Who?" Zara lifted her hand and pointed toward the stars. "My real mother." In the forest that night, the trees moved even without wind. And above the clouds, the silent ship opened its core. A smaller pod detached and began falling toward Earth. The pod didn't crash. It landed like it belonged here, quiet, smooth, gentle, like a mother returning home. Ethan stood at the edge of the forest, his shotgun in one hand, flashlight in the other. Zara stood behind him, her small fingers holding his coat tightly. "I don't want to see her," she whispered. But the pod door opened anyway. White mist rolled out. The air grew colder. And then she stepped out, tall, glowing, calm. She didn't look like a monster. She looked like a queen from the stars. Her skin shimmered like moonlight. Her long silver hair floated behind her as if it were underwater. Her eyes, bright and full of memories, locked onto Zara. Ethan raised the gun. "Don't move." The woman didn't flinch. She looked at him like a human looks at a barking dog. "I am not here to hurt," she said in soft, perfect English. Her voice was warm but powerful, like thunder hidden in a song. Zara stepped back. "Ryle." Ethan glanced at her. "You know her?" Zara nodded slowly. "She is my real mother." Inside the house, silence sat between them like a guest. Ryle didn't sit. She stood near the fireplace, looking around at everything. Ethan's books, Zara's drawings, the worn sofa, the small lamp glowing in the corner. "This is how you've lived?" Ryle asked softly. Zara nodded. "I like it here." Ryle turned to Ethan. "You took care of her." Ethan lowered his voice. "She's like my own daughter." "I can see that." A long pause. Then Ryle said, "I didn't come to take her away." "Not yet." Ethan narrowed his eyes. "What do you mean?" "She is in danger. There are others, darker ones, who want her powers. If I go, they'll come. If I stay, they'll wait." Zara looked afraid. "I don't want to leave." Ryle touched her daughter's face gently. "You are strong, but your light shines too far." That night, Ryle stayed in the guest room. Ethan couldn't sleep. He walked outside and sat on the porch. The stars above looked different now. Brighter, closer, more dangerous. Suddenly he heard a soft hum. Not from the sky, from inside the house. He rushed back in and followed the sound to the guest room. Ryle stood in front of a glowing blue crystal, speaking into it. He couldn't understand the language, but he caught one word: delay. She turned and saw him. Ethan stepped back. "Who are you really?" Ryle didn't lie. "I was a general. I fought in a war. I lost everything. Except her." "Why didn't you come for her earlier?" "I couldn't. I thought she was gone forever. Until she lit the sky again." Ethan stared at her. "And now what?" "You live with us." She smiled gently. "If she chooses to stay, I stay too." Zara drew 2 pictures the next morning. One was of Ethan. One was of Ryle. In both, she wrote one word under their faces: home. But deep in the dark parts of the galaxy, something else had seen the light. And it was not a mother. It was a hunter. And it was already on its way. For the first time in her life, Zara had 2 people who called her daughter. But a child with 2 homes is sometimes a child with no peace. The morning light touched the wooden floor. Zara sat between 2 chairs. One where Ethan read the newspaper, the other where Ryle silently observed the earth through the window. Ethan cooked eggs. Ryle didn't eat. Zara tried to smile at both. But the air inside the house was heavy. Not with hate. With something worse, uncertainty. "Did you sleep?" Ethan asked. Zara nodded, though it wasn't true. He looked at Ryle. "Did she?" I watched her, Ryle replied. She dreams of fire. Later that day, Ethan worked in the garden. Zara helped him plant tomatoes, her hands covered in dirt. I like this, she said. Ethan smiled. You're good at it. I know. She grinned. Then she paused. But what if we lived in the sky? Could we grow tomatoes there? Ethan looked up. I don't think space has soil. Zara turned serious. But Mother says her ship can create forests. She says she can build anything. Ethan's smile faded. Even a home you never had? Zara looked away. She says she remembers holding me. You say that too. Ethan put down the shovel. I don't remember holding you as a baby. I remember protecting you when you were scared. I remember teaching you to laugh. Zara whispered. So, which one is my real parent? Ethan didn't answer. Inside the house, Ryle found an old photo of Ethan before Zara came. Alone. Cold eyes. Tired smile. She touched the frame. You changed, she said when he walked in. He leaned on the doorframe. You think I stole her? Ryle shook her head. No. I think you loved her. And you? I created her, Ryle said. But she learned love here. That evening, they sat at the dinner table together for the first time. Ethan, Ryle, Zara. It felt like a dream none of them understood. Then Zara placed her hand on the table. I want both. Both what? Ethan asked. Both of you. Here. Together. Forever. Ryle was silent. Ethan took a deep breath. It's not that easy, kiddo. Zara looked at them both. Why not? The question hit harder than they expected. That night, while Zara slept between them on the couch, Ryle whispered, You and I, we both love her, but I fear we are building two different homes in one heart. Ethan replied, Maybe we just have to build one together. Ryle didn't speak, but outside the house, a new shadow had arrived. Something moved through the trees. Fast, quiet, watching. The next morning, Ethan went to the basement. Something felt wrong. Cold air touched his skin. In the far corner, hidden under an old blanket, he found it. Alien technology. Glowing. Humming. Not his. He touched it and suddenly, a hologram appeared. A voice echoed. Location secured. Weapon remains unaware. Ethan stepped back in shock. Weapon? Behind him, Ryle stood in silence. I was trying to protect her, she said. He turned. Or were you trying to use her? Upstairs, Zara opened her eyes. Something inside her chest burned. She felt a voice calling from far, far away. A voice that wasn't Ethan, and wasn't Ryle. Something else. Something that wanted her power. The strange ship hovered in the darkness, not the peaceful just kind, outside firing not the warm, range, early bigger than kind. Any ship Reeve had ever seen. Felt heavy, black like the world was holding its breath. Its Sarah noticed like a living thing waiting. Inside their little ship moving. The air felt even the thick. Fire beside her had burned his weapon to soft glowing coals. The girl watched the scanner. She looked up at Leo, her face calm, staring her hands toward the distant hill. A voice, his face had changed, cold and smooth, not angry, echoed through not the afraid, comms. Just Unit 11. What is Initiate it? Mastermind protocol. He didn't answer. Return to source. Then the sound no came. Resistance. A soft hum. Reeve turned to then the girl. Engines. Mastermind protocol. Mechanical. Military. What is that? She shook her slowly. Head. Lost. Ignoring the pain in her leg. I only from know beyond the tree line when I hear that they phrase, appeared. Something in me tries to wake up. 6 soldiers in full gear. Another signal. 2 drones this hovering time like it wasn't insects. Just a voice. And at the front, was a feeling. A tall woman like in invisible hands reaching she into wore the no girl's helmet. Mind. Her face she was sharp and fell to her unreadable. Knees. Leo grabbing her head. Colonel her Reeve. Eyes glowed bright. Captain Walker, flickering she with said patterns she stopped a few feet away. He her rushed to her side. To Sarah. Stay with me. Don't the rumors were true. But the girls know there were changed. Rumors. Leo 2 voices muttered. At once. You didn't report one the Valari girl. One cold and machine-like. That's desertion of Mastermind duty. Protocol. You know that. Active. I didn't report Reeve's her. Heart raced. Leo said shouted calmly. Because fight she it. Wasn't a threat. You're stronger Reeve than them. Stepped closer. The ship's console. She's an alien soldier. Code. She's a child. Filling with strange symbols. She's a witness. The scanner showed Sarah the enemy ship launching drones. I didn't come to spy. Fast, sharp. I didn't even mean to survive. Inside Reeve her mind, looked at her coldly. She stood in a white room. Doesn't need to mean made of memory. Survival itself rows of figures is dangerous. Watched her. Leo stepped made forward. Of glass. She saved my life. In the center. Reeve raised an eyebrow and full of command. When
You
her people
exist
came
for
back,
your master,
Leo said.
You obey.
She could have turned me in.
You die.
Let them kill me.
She heard another
She
voice.
didn't. Reeve turned her eyes
kind,
to Sarah.
Why?
Reeve's
Sarah
voice
swallowed.
You
Because he
exist
didn't
for
kill me.
yourself. When he
You
had
choose.
every reason to.
The glass faces
The soldiers
began to
behind
crack.
Reeve whispered
Back
among
in the ship,
themselves.
Reeve
She raised
grabbed
a hand,
the girl's shoulders,
silencing them.
You are not
This
their
is a
puppet.
war.
She
Remember
said.
me.
Not a
The glow in
kindness
her eyes
contest.
faded. Leo
Then
clenched
flared
his
again.
fists. Her
Then
hands maybe
clenched,
that's the problem.
body shaking.
For a second,
I am not
no
a
one
weapon.
moved. Then Reeve
She whispered,
pointed to Sarah,
fighting every
She's
word.
coming with us.
A warning flashed.
Leo stepped
If
in
Master
front of her.
dies,
No,
protocol
she's
becomes
not.
unstoppable.
You're protecting her?
Reeve realized.
Reeve asked,
If I die,
over your
you
duty?
lose control.
I'm protecting
That's what
the
they
only
made you
thing I've
for.
seen in this
Not to
war that
protect,
gives me
but
hope.
to be a weapon
Reeve
they can
turned
use
to her
against
men.
everyone else.
Arrest him.
Tears
Two
ran down her
soldiers
cheeks,
moved forward.
half light,
Sarah
water.
didn't hesitate.
Reeve,
She stepped
I don't want to
between
hurt
them.
anyone.
She held up
Please,
both hands.
help me
If
break
he goes,
He pressed
she said
his
loudly
forehead to hers.
I go too.
You're not alone.
Reeve frowned.
I believe in you.
What?
Choose your
I'm
own
Valari.
path. Don't
Sarah
let
said.
them write your
You
story.
think I'm dangerous.
Suddenly,
That
the
I'm
big
a
ship's
threat.
drones slammed against their
Take
hull.
me. But
Alarm
you take me
screamed.
instead.
Metal
Let him
screeched.
go.
Hull
Leo's
breached.
voice broke
the girl
slightly.
stood, her whole body glowing
no,
now,
she
bright
said,
as a blue star.
not looking at him.
She raised
You
her
gave me a
hands.
choice.
Light
You
poured
saved
from her
me.
skin.
You listened.
Circuits bent
No one
around
else
her power.
ever did.
Outside,
Reeve laughed once.
drones melted
You
before
think we
they touched the
negotiate
ship.
with aliens?
The enemy ship's
No.
lights flickered,
Sarah said,
struggling
but
to
maybe
keep control.
You
She
listened
spoke
to your own.
not just with words,
She turned to the
but with
soldiers.
will.
You
I am
follow
not
orders,
your weapon,
right?
I am not
Even
your
if they're
property.
wrong.
I
The
choose
youngest
freedom.
soldier
The
hesitated.
mastermind protocol
Reeve
cracked.
stepped forward,
Then shattered.
Enough.
She
She
collapsed
drew
to
her
her knees,
sidearm.
weak but
You
free.
both want to die
Reeve
for
helped
this
her
lie?
up. Sarah
You did
looked
it.
down the barrel
You
of
won.
the gun. She smiled,
pounding,
tired but
she didn't
true.
move. We did it.
I'm not afraid
Together,
of you, she said.
But the big ship
not
was
anymore.
still there. The gun
Angry
trembled
and now
slightly.
afraid.
Leo
Reeve
stood
looked
beside her now.
What now?
No weapon.
She
No
answered,
shield.
stronger than
Just
before.
presence. We
You'll
fight
have to
for
shoot
our
us
freedom.
both, not
he
as
said.
master and
Reeve's
servant,
hand twitched,
but as
then
equals.
one of the
He
soldiers
nodded.
lowered his
The two
weapon.
stood side
Then
by side
another.
as the enemy circled.
Then another.
Knowing
You
they
said
might
we
not
fight
survive.
monsters,
But
the
knowing
young
soldier
soldier
said
said
softly,
who they really were.
But she's not a monster. You are. Reeve's eyes went wide. You. But by then, her command had vanished. She was alone. She lowered her gun slowly. This isn't over, she hissed. No, Leo said. But it's changing. Reeve walked away without another word. Her boots crushed the fallen leaves like broken promises. Silence returned. Sarah collapsed to her knees, shaking. Leo caught her. You didn't have to do that, he said. I did, she whispered, because for once, I chose what I became. And for the first time, she wasn't caught between two worlds. She was building a new one. A child once lost in the stars, now stood between two worlds. One called her daughter, the other called her weapon. But now she had to choose. The house shook. Windows cracked. Lights flickered. The dark figure outside stepped closer. Its body made of smoke and steel, its eyes glowing red. Zara stood at the door, barefoot, calm. Ethan grabbed her shoulder. Don't go out there. I have to, she said. They came for me. Ryle stood behind them, her voice strong but trembling. You don't belong to them. Zara turned slowly, looking at the two people who both gave her something she never had. Past, a future, a home. I know, she whispered, but I need to end this. She stepped outside. The night air was thick with silence. The figure spoke, not with a mouth but inside her mind. You are not human. You are energy. You are ours. Zara didn't flinch. You're wrong. The sky tore open. 3 more shapes dropped from above, surrounding the house. Inside, Ethan loaded the old shotgun. It won't stop them, Ryle said. I know, Ethan said, but I'll stand beside her anyway. Ryle looked at him, and for once, there was no hate between them, only respect. Zara raised her hand. It began to glow, brighter than ever. The ground cracked beneath her feet. Trees bent backward. The enemy machines froze. She could feel it, the power inside her. A burning star waiting to be released. And in that moment she saw everything. The future if she gave in, cities on fire, planets falling. Herself, alone and feared. The future if she stayed, pain, confusion. But love, real love.
Zara looked up at the sky, and she chose. She turned to the machines and whispered one word. No. Her body exploded with light. Not fire. Not destruction. But calm. Pure light. So bright the machines began to melt away, their darkness unable to survive it. They screamed as they vanished, shadows erased by her choice. The sky went still again, and she collapsed. Ethan ran to her, heart pounding. Zara, wake up. She opened her eyes slowly. I didn't destroy anything, she said. No, he said with a smile, tears in his eyes. You saved everything. That morning, Ryle packed her things. I should go, she said. Ethan walked her to the ship. She still needs you, he said. She needs you too, Ryle replied. Maybe we both stay. Different roofs. Same sky. He nodded. That might work. Before she boarded, Zara ran to her and hugged her tightly. You'll visit? She asked. Always, Ryle promised. Later, Zara sat in the garden again, dirty hands planting seeds. She looked up at Ethan. Daddy? Yes. Was I born to destroy? He smiled. No, kiddo. You were born to decide. She looked at the sky one last time. It no longer scared her. It was just another place. Home was here.